Welcome back, students. Today we read the fourth chapter of our Environmental Studies Part 1. The name of chapter is a water safe for drinking. The first activity given is take a glass half full of water, add a spoonful of sugar to it and stir it with a spoon. See what change takes place. Repeat this experiment with each of the substances mentioned below. Wash the glass clean every time you take the next substance. Common salt, honey, washing soda, powdered alum, sand, wheat flour, sawdust, turmeric powder, and some oil. What do you see? Sugar, salt, washing soda, alum disappear in a water. They dissolve completely in a water, but sand, sawdust, turmeric powder, oil do not disappear even on a stirring. They do not dissolve. What does this tell us? Some substances dissolve in a water while some substances do not. The substance that dissolve in a water spreads throughout the water. When salt dissolve in a water, the water in a container tastes salty. When sugar dissolves in a water, the water tastes sweet. A new term is a solution. When a substance dissolves in a water, a mixture of that substance and a water is a form. This mixture is called the solution of that substance. If some if someone gets loose motions, we give them a solution of a salt and sugar to drink. This solution is called ORS or oral rehydration solution. A patient in a hospital is sometimes put on saline, that is, on a solution of salt in a water. Sometimes other medicines may also be given through saline. These are examples of useful solutions. Page number 21. Do you know? Seawater is salty to taste because it is nothing but a solution of salt that occurs naturally. We cannot use a seawater for a drinking. Water of a different wells may have a different taste. Why is that so? Some substances from the ground dissolve in a water. They give a taste to the well water. But if there is nothing dissolved in a water, water has no taste. When we remove the lid of a soda water bottle, bubbles fizz out of it. To make a soda water, a gas called carbon dioxide is dissolved in a water under pressure. When the lid is removed, the pressure reduced and the gas bubbles out. Again, the one experiment is given. Try this. Fill a large container with a water. Collect the following articles. From your compass box, you have to take a plastic ruler, an eraser, a pencil, a sharpener, a rubber band, the compass. From your house, you have to collect a steel spoon, a plastic spoon, some groundnut shells, an iron nail, a screw, and a coin. From outdoor, you have to collect stones, little twigs, leaves, and soil. Put these things in water and see whether each of them sinks or floats. What do you see? The eraser, sharpener, steel spoon, nail, screw, stones, coin, the compass, and the soil sink in the water while the other things float. What does this tell us? Some things float on a water while some things sinks in it. The things that float are lighter than a water. The things that sink are heavier than a water. Page number 22. Again, one experiment is there. Try this. Take some muddy water in a big beaker. If you do not find the muddy water, then make some by adding some soil, pieces of dry twigs, straw, leaves, etc. to water. Now allow this beaker to stand still for 4 or 5 hours. What do you see? The particles of a soil sink in the water and form a layer of sediments at the bottom. But twigs and other rubbish float on the water. It takes a long time for the sediments to form. What does this tell us? Particles of a soil are heavier than a water. But because they are very small, They take a long time to settle to the bottom of the water. Leaves, twigs, etc. are lighter than water. Now, the water appears much cleaner and transparent than it was. The process of allowing the process of allowing the heavier particle to settle to the bottom of a still water is called a settling. Without disturbing the sediment, pour the water above it into two smaller beakers. Even though this water appears much cleaner than before, there are still some fine particles of soils and rubbish floating in it. Now carry out the following experiments using these two beakers. Label them 1 and 2. Try this. Take a piece of alum and swill it once in the water in the first beaker. Leave this beaker undisturbed for 2 or 3 hours. What do you see? The particles floating in water slowly settle to the bottom, and the water in the upper part becomes transparent. The twigs and the straw still keeps floating on the water. Page number 23. What does this tell us? Swilling alum in a water helps the soil particles in muddy water to settle down. Take another beaker, place a tea strainer over it. Fold a piece of fine cotton cloth into 4 layers. Make it moist and spread it over the strainer. Now pour the water in a beaker 2 in a thin stream on the folds of the cloth. What will you see? The rubbish and soil particles remain on a cloth. The water collects in a beaker below. It looks transparent. What does this tell us? If we strain muddy water, it helps to make it clean. This process is called as filtration. After doing this experiment, throw the water into the soil and wash your hands with a soap and clean water. A new term, potable water, means water safe for drinking. Water that does not endanger our health in any way when we drink it is called safe drinking water or a potable water. We have seen some methods of making a muddy water clean and transparent. However, such a water may still not be potable. Can you tell? In the rainy season, the water of the rivers and the streams become muddy. Why do we not drink that water? When on when on an excursion, if you find that the water of a spring or a well there has a bad smell, would you drink it? Page number 24. Water. Water is safe for a drinking. That is potable water. Drinking water must be safe for our health. Pure water has no taste, smell, or color. If water has a color or a foul smell, one must avoid drinking it. It can make us ill. When we get muddy water during the rains, we allow it to settle before using it. If necessary, we use alum or we filter the water. Its muddiness disappears and the water looks clean and transparent. Can we say that it is now safe for drinking? Let us learn some more about this. New term. Micro means very small. Organisms, a living thing. Microorganisms means what? A living thing that cannot be seen by a naked eye or even with a magnifying glass. Microscope, an instrument for looking at a very small things which we cannot see with our eyes or even through a magnifying glass. Do you know, if we take a bit of yogurt or a drop of buttermilk on a glass slide and place the slide under the microscope, we see very tiny living things in it. They are called microorganisms. These microorganisms convert the milk into yogurt. They are useful for us, but all microorganisms are not useful. Some microorganisms cause diseases when they are enter our body. They are said to be harmful microorganisms. Page number 25. There are numerous kinds of microorganisms around us. They are in the soil, in water, in air, on rocks, that is, anywhere and everywhere. Even if harmful microorganisms are present in a water, we are not able to see them. Now, though the water with such a microorganisms looks transparent, would it be safe for drinking? You may know that during the rainy season we often hear of an outbreak of diarrhea and gastritis. At such times, we need to boil the water that has been cleaned by settling and filtration. Only then does it become safe for drinking. Boiling the water kills the microorganisms in it and prevents diseases. Use your brain power. Some substances do not dissolve in a water. What could be the advantage of this? What's the solution? Mother had brought some cumin seeds, that is jeera, from the shop, but some sand got mixed with it. Mother wants the jeera seeds clean. What we learn? Some substances dissolve in a water, some substances do not. Some things float on a water, some sink and settle at the bottom. In order to obtain the clean water, muddy water is allowed to settle. After settling, the water is cleaned further by swilling alum in it or by filtration. Even in a clean, transparent water, microorganisms can be present. It is necessary to have a safe water for drinking, so water must be boiled to destroy any microorganisms in it. Always remember, even such a tiny living things like a microorganisms which our eyes cannot see have a great importance in our life. Okay, thank you.